Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight I'm going to continue with an extended example of play for Halls of Hegra. This will be a continuation of the playthrough that I provided in the previous video. We're going to be starting turn 4, and that is the first turn of the first attack segment, so things are going to change up a little bit. As we'll be moving into the first attack segment, we can get rid of the mobilization deck. We won't need that anymore. Now, I had one oversight from the previous video, and that was when we used our artillery to attack the Vernus airfield. We should have rolled to see if the gun jammed. And in this case, since we attacked that airfield, we need to roll a 6, and that's the only thing that's going to save us from having a jammed gun. So we will make the roll and see if we can get a 6. Here's the roll. We rolled a 1, so that gun is going to be damaged, and we'll mark that accordingly. So that was gun 2, and that has a jam on it now. Okay, we're ready to start the first attacks phase, and we'll see what happens with that. We'll start with drawing an event. And here's the event draw. And this time we've got the morale is running low. You have to do something. Okay, let's take a closer look at that card. Okay, we'll begin. We have cloudy conditions, so our weather is adjusted to cloudy. That'll give us 1 to 5 movement points on the tactical map. Now, reading the event, it says we're going to lose 2 morale. Okay, and so our morale track will move to -2, which is not a good thing. All right, next on the card is we're going to make our recruitment draws. So we'll get out our recruitment bag and start drawing and see what happens. All right, here's our first draw. Let's see what we get. This time we've got a soldier. Okay, well, we'll continue drawing. And this time we've got a doubt token. So that's all we're going to get is the soldier. The doubt token will go back into the bag. And we'll place that soldier in the ready area. And now there's a new icon on the card. And that at the bottom here is German soldiers. And there's going to be 4 of them that are going to come out on the board. So we're going to take our German soldiers and we're going to place 4 of them in Sector 1. Now these have a maximum of 5 capacity for each of those sectors. So we're going to place 5 German soldiers standing up in Sector 1. And they're going to be launching an attack against our defenders. Now this is considered to be like the lead elements of the 138th Mountain Regiment, and they're trying to take over the village of Hegra. So now this is a new feature in the game that we're going to be introducing. What's going to happen now is during this phase, these German soldiers each of them are going to launch an attack on our defending forces in those defensive positions. And we're going to roll the dice, 1 for each of them, and then we see what the results are. A 5 to 6 is a hit. A 3 to 4 would be movement, trying to move forward. So we're going to make those rolls and see what happens. In this case, they're going to be rolling a total of 4 dice. Okay, here is the roll. All right, they have 4, 4, and 3, and a 5. So we'll move these markers accordingly. We have a hit, and then 3 of them are going to be in movement capacity. All right, so now we have to find out what does this mean. First of all, the hits are resolved. We always resolve them from left to right. So the hits are done first. It says ignore 1 hit per defense level. Injure 1 defender per hit. Well, we have a defense level of 2. So that is going to override that hit, which is great. So we've resolved him and he'll move back to Sector 1. But now we've got 3 German soldiers advancing. So they are going to move up to Sector 2. And you'll notice that this sector is a red background, and that is going to end up affecting our morale if that condition persists. And worse yet, if these German soldiers advance again into that charge area, we're going to be injuring the leftmost defender in the defensive positions and placing one of those soldiers back in the reserve. If that's not possible, then we're going to be moving defenders from the tired area into the morgue, so we can't let them get through our defensive positions. All right, now we're going to use our supplies to move our tired soldiers to the ready area. We have a total of 5 supplies, but now the supply values are diminished. We only get 3 movements for each supply that we use. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tired individuals. Well, I'm definitely going to be spending 2 supply. So we have 5 right now, and we'll move that down to a total of 3 supply. And we'll be able to move 6 of those units to the ready area. So we'll get a soldier, 2 of our foresters, and got a medic in there. To think about that. Well, I don't think we need the medic right now, so we'll be moving the 3 volunteers, and then we'll place the medic into the rest area, and he can come in for free next round. All right, so we'll move on now to our day phase. We'll start assigning our defenders to the different actions. Well, we're definitely going to need some repairs to be done, so I think what we'll do is I'm going to assign 3 of our volunteers to repair and 1 soldier. That'll give us 2 repairs. We're definitely going to have to do something about the morale situation, so I'm going to move our commander into the inspire action. That'll help us with the morale a little bit. And then I think we're going to use one of our forester units, and they're going to do a supply run. We'll try that. That gives us 3 units left to place yet. I think what we'll do is we'll use one of those strong men and have him do some shoveling, and then we'll place 2 soldiers in the bolster area. Let's try that. Okay. All right, our first step now is the first attack area. Now we have the ability to use these defend the walls people that we have there. Each of them are going to be able to fire using 1 die, and the results would be 1 to 3 would be suppression, 4 to 6 is a hit. If a unit is suppressed, it's laid face down in prone position, and then it can't do anything. So we have to be cognitive of one thing though, the hit range. If we don't have soldiers or the commander firing, they can only target units in this sector 2. And their range is not as good as a regular soldier. So we're going to get a total of 3 shots. So we can roll 3 dice. I think we'll do these one at a time. Now the volunteers are only able to target units in that sector 2, so we'll do that first. We'll roll 2 dice, 1 for each of those. Okay, we rolled 2 2s, and that means we've suppressed 2 units. It's not the best. And then finally we have a defender, and he's going to be able to target either of those locations. Here's his roll. He rolled a 6, so he's got a kill shot. And I think we're going to target this guy here. And he goes back to the supply. All right. Okay, we haven't placed anyone in fire artillery, so that won't be used, but we did place 1 unit in the supply run, and we currently have a movement of 5. When we check the weather, it's cloudy, so we have 5 movement points. And we'll have to decide what we want to do. And I suppose we'll move him towards the supplies area. So he'll move 1, 2, 3, and 4 into the German patrol area. And I think what we're going to do there is our options would be to try to push through and escape from them, or we can end our turn there and then decrease the suspicion level. Those are our choices. If we sneak, it's basically a 50-50 chance, so I don't want to do that. I think we're just going to stop, and then we're going to reduce our suspicion level by 1. So we'll move that down to 2. Now we have an existing soldier in the supply area, and he can start moving. So he could move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll have him move into this space, and then we have the choice of either stopping, sneaking, or since it's a soldier, we could fight. And I'm not sure what is our best bet. I think we're going to try to sneak. So what we'll do is we consult our suspicion table. We have to roll greater than a 2 to get past that soldier. So that's what we're going to do. We'll try that. Here is the roll. We rolled a 4. All right, so he can continue moving. We've spent 1 movement point. He'll move 2, 3, 4, and 5, and he's returned to the fortress. That is great. We're going to place him into the tired area, and then we get to resolve returning supply runs. We're going to be gaining 1 morale, which will move us up 1. Suspicion is going to go up 1 back to 3. And then we're going to gain 2 supplies and whatever the special is. The special in this case is a miss token. And we're going to add that to the hit bag, which is great. So we'll be gaining 2 supplies plus the miss token. That's pretty good. Supplies have been placed in the supply area. Then we get our hit bag out, and we're going to add that miss token in there, and that is going to help us. All right. Okay, number 4, we'll move on to our maintenance, and I'm going to use the inspire action here. So our leader goes to tired, and we move our morale back up 1. We're at 0. Okay, we've got 2 units in the bolster action. We'll move we have a choice now. We can either move up the defense or add a miss tile. And right now our defense is at 2. I think we're going to take a chance, and I'm going to add another miss token into the hit bag. Let's try that. So we'll place that in the hit bag. Okay. All right, next we have a total of 2 repair actions. And let's see what we want to do with that. Well, definitely I'd like to repair gun number 2, so we'll do that. That's one of the actions. Another action would be for us to maybe repair this defensive position C, and we'll do that. This is going to be put into the hit bag though. So we'll do that. We'll repair that, put it into the hit bag. All right. So these units will go into the tired area. And now finally we have a shovel snow. We got a forester there, and he's going to be able to move the snow down 2. And we'll take care of that right now. That'll move us down to 1. All right. We've got no one in the infirmary, which is great. We'll move on to the morale. Okay, examining our morale modifiers. It's not a red day. We're not out of supplies. We have no defenders in the waiting area or morgue, but there are German soldiers in a red sector. So that means we're going to lose 1 morale. Our final morale is going to be -1. Draw 2 low morale cards and resolve 1. Okay. So we'll get our low morale cards and give them a shuffle, and we'll draw 2. Okay, here's the draws. So we're going to have to play one of these cards. One will have to go back to the deck. All right, we're in the first attack stage, so we'll still be reading the top row of these. We can either increase the suspicion level, or we can add a German soldier. And I think we're going to increase the suspicion level. So we'll play this card. This one will go back into the deck and get shuffled in. And we'll increase the suspicion level by 1. So we'll increase the suspicion from 3 up to 4. Okay. That card goes in the discard then. All right, we don't have a surrender condition, so all we do now is check to see if there's any special conditions on the turn track. There aren't, so we'll advance that to turn 5. Now there's going to be 3 German patrols coming out during this turn. So we'll start turn 5 and we'll begin with our event draw. Let's see what we get this time. This time we can't hold out much longer. We need to retreat back to the fortress soon. Okay, there's going to be snow conditions. Let's take a look at this card. Okay, so we'll begin by adjusting our weather conditions. We're back into snow, so that's going to move us up to a snow condition, and that's going to increase the snow level by 1. Now it says you lose 1 morale and must injure 1 defender. Okay. All right, the morale level will drop to -1, and now we have to injure a defender. So we got to consult the card and see the priorities list for injuries. All right, consulting the card, look at the top priority, and that's going to be a soldier. So we're going to take a soldier from the tired area, and then we have to move him to the infirmary. So one of our soldiers now is going to be brought into the infirmary. So what we have to do now is roll a die, and the lower the roll, the more severely injured that defender is. So here is our die roll. We rolled a 6, and that's as good as we can do. So we place him in the 6 area in the waiting room, and then if there are available beds, we can assign him to a bed, and that's what we're going to do. We'll put him into bed number 1. So during the resolution phase, we have this relapse and recovery. Each of the injured defenders that are in a bed can recover 1. So we'll get him back pretty quick. That was just a flesh wound for him. All right, next up, we are going to make our recruitment draws. So we'll get our recruitment bag out and start drawing tokens. Okay, here's the first one. And that's a doubt token. So we'll just draw until we get a defender, and that's what we get. Another doubt. There we go. We have a volunteer. Volunteer comes with a free set of supplies, which is great. We'll place those doubt tokens back into the bag, and then we will place the volunteer with the supplies in the ready area. So we've got a total of 5 supplies. We're adding 1 that'll be 6. So we'll put a 5 in there and leave 1 in the ones. That's a total of 6 supply. Our volunteer goes into the ready area. All right. And now taking a look at the bottom of the card, 3 more German soldiers are going to appear on the first attack board. So we'll get out 3 more German soldiers. And they are going to be starting in Sector 1. That has a maximum capacity of 5. So we'll put out 3 more. And now they're going to launch their attacks. Now the 2 German soldiers in Sector 2 are in prone position. They're basically unavailable. But the 4 that just appeared, or 3 that just appeared into Sector 1, each of them now are going to be able to fire. So a total of 4 shots there. We'll roll 4 dice and see what they do. Okay, we've got a 3, a 3, a 4, and a 1. The 1 is nothing. Nothing will happen with that. We can get rid of that. But the 3s and 4s are going to advance. So all of these guys are going to move into the advance area, which is not good. Soldiers in Sector 2 can't do anything, but all they can do is stand up. All right. Now we've got 4 soldiers moving in to Sector 2. That sector can only hold a maximum of 5, so 3 of the soldiers will move in there. 1 of them is going to move into the charge area, and that's not good. And it says here under charge, injure the leftmost defender in the defensive position and place the soldier back into the reserve. All right, so the leftmost defender is going to be this volunteer. He's going to be injured. We'll have to move him to the infirmary. And this guy is going to go back to the supply. So I guess that could have been worse. So we'll make a roll and see how severely wounded our volunteer is. Here's the roll. We rolled a 3, so that's a moderate wound. So we place him on the 3 position in the waiting area, and we can transfer him to an open bed, and we've got that. Move him into bed 2. All right. Okay, we move on to the morning phase, and we move defenders from the rest area to the ready area. So we've got a medic there. Now we can use our supplies, and we've got a total of 6, 7, 8. 8 tired defenders. So it would take 3 supplies to move all of them to active, and I think we'll do that. We've got a total of 6 supply, so we'll make it 3 supply, and we'll move everybody into the ready area. I think that's kind of a drastic time here, especially with 5 of those soldiers almost in a charge position. All right. All right, now we're going to start assigning our defenders to the different actions. I think I'm going to place 2 soldiers on the line, and we'll move them into those line positions, defensive positions. So we've got a total of 4 of those now. That should help. I think we're going to be firing the field guns, so I'm going to have to include the 1 soldier we have left with the field commander. It's the only one that can operate the field guns. I may have made a mistake by placing too many soldiers on the defensive positions, but I think we'll go with this. This will give us a total of 2 of those. We can fire both guns at least. I think we'll assign Forrester to that shovel snow. That gives us a total of 5 units left to place. I think we definitely need to inspire, so I'll use the medic and 1 of the volunteers for that job. I think we will take a repair action. We'll put 2 volunteers there. And I think we'll send out this volunteer on a supply run. We'll do that. All right, we're going to begin by defending the walls. We have a total of 4 defenders there. So we're going to be able to roll 4 dice. In this case, since all of the targets are in Sector 2, it won't matter for us to differentiate between the soldiers and the volunteers. So we'll roll 4 dice and see what we get. Okay, we've got a total of 2 hits and 2 suppress. That could have been better. 2 hits, we'll take 2 off the board. We'll put those back in the supply, and 2 more are suppressed. So we'll flip them down. The problem is there's still German soldiers in this red area, and that's going to affect our morale. All right, our next step is the fire artillery step. We'll place those 2 units in the tired area, and we can fire both of our guns using this criteria. I think for gun 1, we're going to take infantry sector. It says we can hit 2 German soldiers per revealed targeting tile, and then suppress the rest. So let's do that. We'll select sector 2. We can get 2 hits there. That'll give us, we'll take out the 2 suppressed guys, put those back in the supply, and then it would suppress all of the remaining soldiers there. So there's still 1 there though, that's the problem. Now we have to roll for whether the gun is jammed. In this case, it's a 4+ is what we need to keep it from jamming. Here's the roll. We rolled a 6, so the gun is not jammed. That is great. All right, using artillery gun number 2, we can choose any of those actions. And I'm kind of leaning to going after that Varennes airfield again. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to target the Varennes airfield, and we're going to select +2 to morale. We'll do that, and then we have to roll to see if the gun jams, and it's going to be jammed on anything except a 6. So here is the roll. We rolled a 3, so the gun is jammed, but we get +2 morale. So gun 2 will be jammed. And we'll adjust our morale track. Our morale will rise by 2, so currently we are at now +1. Next, we'll take care of our supply runs. And that token should be removed. We have 1 in the supply run area, so we will put him out on the board and we can get him to move. And I think current weather conditions now, we have a movement of 4. So let's see here. I guess we'll move him 1, 2, 3, and 4, and he'll enter that space with the German soldier. And he will, in this case, or simply end our movement and decrease the suspicion track by 1. That'll move the suspicion track down to 3. And as you can see, the order that we take these in is kind of important. If we were to have moved, say, this one first, well, I guess it doesn't matter, but if you had a guy coming back, if we're able to lower the suspicion track before that action takes place, it could make a difference. So, okay, we've done that. Next is this guy here. He's going to take a movement and pick up a supply token in the supply area. And that'll be the extent of the supply run. All right, next up is the maintenance, and we'll start with our Inspire. We've got 2 tokens in there that will allow us to move the morale up by 1, and we'll move that up now to +2. Okay, we have 1 repair action, and I think we're going to use that to repair our jammed gun number 2. And finally, we've got Shovel Snow. That'll be worth 2 units, and we'll move the snow down 2, and that's going to get us a draw on the snow tokens. So we'll reset our snow level to 3 and then see what we find. This time we've got Counter Patrol. Okay, that gets placed in the supply run area. Let's place it there and find out what we get. Okay, this is kind of an interesting action. Now this Counter Patrol starts with damage on it, and we have to place that Counter Patrol damage marker on the rightmost icon. So that's how it starts out. We can repair that, and then that would also allow us to reduce the suspicion levels. But for right now, if we place 2 people in that area, soldiers would be worth 2 each, and we can't use medics. You'll be able to remove German patrols, and there is an issue with those. If there's ever a time when a German patrol is supposed to be placed on the board and there are none left to place, we have to start taking hits from the hit bag instead, so we never want that condition to occur either. Number 5 is the infirmary. All right, so we're going to start out by relapse and recovery. We would move all patients in the waiting area down a level. So if we had any here, they're going to move down closer, and if they reach the morgue, they've died waiting for treatment. Then we do recovery, and we move all patients in the beds up a level. This guy is going to recover. He's reached the plus stage. We put him back in the tired area. This guy's more severely wounded, and he'll move up to the 4 box. All right. Now we take care of our morale, and the only modifier that will apply is this -1, German soldier in red sector. And unfortunately, we couldn't get rid of him. So that's going to adversely affect our morale. That'll move down 1. We're still at +1 though, so that will allow us to draw 2 high morale and play 1. So let's do that. We'll get our high morale deck out and give that a shuffle. And we'll draw 2 cards. Okay, here's the first one and the second one. All right, let's see which one of those we want to play. All right, the first card says to move 2 defenders from the tired area to the ready area. The other one is to remove a doubt token from the recruit bag or gain a supply. All right. Well, we're only going to be able to recruit for 1 more turn. After the first attack stage is completed, there are no more recruits. We're under siege. So I don't know how valuable that card would be for that purpose. The 2 defenders moving from tired to ready is basically 2/3 of a supply token. And here we could gain a whole supply token. So I guess we'll do that. We'll take this card, using it for the supply. This one will go back into the deck. So that will allow us to gain another supply. We've got a total of 4 now. And looking at the turn track, we're going to advance that to turn 6, but we have to place 3 patrols out on the map. So we're going to be getting our patrol bag out, and we will draw 3 patrols and place them on the map. Now we are in this gold colored section now of the track. It was green, now it's gold. So they're going to be going in that tier closer towards the fortress. Here's the 3 draws that we've got to make. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let's see where they go. All right, so we've got 3 patrols coming out on the board, and they're going to be in these gold areas. First one is in number 4. Next one is in number 2. And this one is in number 5. Okay, so that's where they're going to go. We'll flip them to their Wehrmacht side. And that's where we're at. And that's going to complete turn 5. We're going to move now to turn 6. Turn 6 has a situation called retreat. And after the conclusion of this round, we'll have to resolve the retreat situation on the first attack board. Let's take a quick look at that. All right, so this is going to be resolved at the conclusion of this turn. It says we're going to be placing an artillery on each space marked with an artillery symbol on the yellow row of the map. We're going to move the supply marker 1 step to the right and lower the defense level by 1. Remove the first attack board from the main board and move any German soldiers from the first attack board to sector 1 on the main board. And then we're going to place a status tile on the machine gun action space. So that's what will happen at the end of this turn. So we'll start turn 6. This is the last of the first attack. So we will draw a card and see what it says. This time we've got our fuel levels are running dangerously low. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the card. All right, we've got sunny conditions, so we'll move our weather marker accordingly, giving us 6 movement points. And the event says we have to lose 1 supply and 1 morale. So we're going to have to discard one of our supply tokens, and the morale is going to drop by 1. So our morale right now is at -1. Okay. All right, next is our recruit action. This will be the final recruit action for the game. Let's see if we can get lucky here. Here's the first draw, and that is a medic. We'll keep drawing. And we've got a soldier, and I think we're going to stop there. That is the best probably we're going to be able to do. So we'll place those tokens in the ready area. All right, so we've got another medic and more importantly another soldier, and those go in the ready area. Now we have to place 4 German soldiers on the board. So 4 German soldiers are coming out from the supply, and they're going to be, they're going to be going into sector 1. So we'll lay out 4 soldiers, and then they're going to launch an attack on the village of Hegra. All right. All right, one of their soldiers is suppressed, but 4 of them will be firing from sector 1. So here's the roll. Okay, they have rolled a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 will not do anything. The 3 and a 4 will advance. They're going to go into the move area. We have no hits to resolve, but we do have advancement. So these 2 will advance into sector 2, and then that guy that was suppressed will stand up. So that could have been worse. All right, we'll move on to the morning phase. We have a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. 8 defenders in the tired area. Well, for sure, we're going to be spending 2 supplies, and that'll allow us to move 6 of those back. So we'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think we need another medic, so 6. We'll do that. And then we'll place these two in the rest area. So that'll be the extent of our movement. All right, now we're going to assign our defenders to actions. Now we have to remember about what's going to be happening at the end of this turn with this retreat situation. There's going to be German artillery coming out, and our supply marker is going to be moved down to 2. And then any soldiers that are on this board are going to go onto the main board. All right, so we'll kind of keep that in the back of our minds. All right, we're going to assign our tokens now to our defenders to those actions. Now, we got quite a few of these German patrols out here. Now we have this counter patrol ability. If we place a soldier there, that's worth 2. So we'd be able to remove a patrol with each soldier that we place there. I think we might try to take advantage of that. I think I'm going to place 2 soldiers out there. That'll give us a total of 4 total discs there, which would give us the ability to remove 2 patrols. So that'll help. I think I'm also going to use our leader and a soldier to fire the 2 artillery pieces we have. It gives us a total of 4 discs left to place. And this is kind of where it becomes tricky because we've got other things that are going to be happening in the next turn. We have to get ready for the siege. Well, I think what we'll do is, I'm kind of caught between a repair action and a bolster. The bolster we could use to move our defenses up to 3. We're going to be losing a defense at the end of this round, so maybe we should do that. I guess we will place a volunteer and a medic in the bolster area, and then we will place got 2 left. I guess we'll place a hunter and a volunteer in the snow shovel action. That'll give us a total of 3 there. That'll be enough to move the snow level down and get another snow token, so we'll do that. All right, we'll begin with number 1, defend the walls. We've got 4 defenders on the line. And we'll start out with, we'll use him first, our volunteer. He can only target the guys in the first row, so we'll do that first. He rolled a 1, and that is going to suppress one of them. We got 3 other soldiers on the line, and we'll roll 3 dice and see what we've got with that. We've got a total of 2 hits and 1 suppress. All right. Well, we'll take the 2 hits, I think, in this area, and we'll suppress 1 in sector 1, and we'll do that. All right. Next up is our fire artillery step. We've got 2 guns active, so we'll put these guys in the tired area, and then we can resolve 1 per gun. I think with this first gun, we're going to use that to target a map row. And that will allow us to hit either an artillery or a patrol for each revealed targeting token. Well, we only have 1 with that gun, but I think we'll use it for that purpose. And I'm going to use that to target one of the patrols in zone 1 in the green row. So we'll put that back into the patrol bag. Okay. Now we have to roll for jamming of the gun. And we'll need a 5 or 6 to prevent that. We've done it. We've got a 6, so the gun is not jammed. That is awesome. I think for gun number 2, we are going to target the Vernes airfield. Vernes airfield, I think what we're going to do is use this top action, remove 1 air tile stack, and we're going to get rid of these air tiles. Those would be damaging potentially our supplies. So those will be removed from the board, put back into the reserve. And now we got to roll for the jamming of the gun. In Verres airfield attack, it's going to be a 6. Here's the roll. And we've rolled a 6. That is absolutely amazing. The gun is not jammed. Excellent. All right, we'll move on to number 3, and that's the supply run. Okay, we've got no one out on a supply run, but we do have 2 tokens in the counter patrol area that will allow us to remove 2 separate German patrols. And we're going to use that to remove this patrol and this one. Those are going to go back into the bag, and that will open our supply run areas for movement. That's great. Now we'll make our moves with the supply runners, and first one will be this one here. Now that supply runner is a hunter. Normally when you're carrying supplies back, you're at a -1 movement, but not for the hunter. So he has a total of 6 movement points, and he'll use those 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and he returns to the fortress. This one here is going to move into the supply area, gaining a token. And that will be the limits of that. So we'll resolve this returning supply run. He's going to be put back to the tired area. We're going to gain +1 to morale, which will move us up to 0 now. And then we will gain 1 to the suspicion level. That's up to 4 now. Then we gain 2 supplies plus the special, so we'll get a total of 3 supplies. That'll move us up to 4 supply now. And this token is removed from the game. That counter patrol is very valuable. It really is. And now we'll move on to our maintenance area. We have a total of 3 points in our shovel snow area, so we'll use those to shovel our snow. And that will move our snow marker down to 0, allowing us to draw the top token. We'll move it back to 3, and this time we get water. That's +1 morale and +1 supply. That is great. So that'll increase our supplies up to 5, and morale goes up to +1. Outstanding. And now we've got 2 people in the bolster area, and we're going to use that to bolster the defenses, I think. We'll move our defense up to 3. Okay. We'll move on to the infirmary. We've got no one in the waiting area, so this guy's going to move up 1, and he's almost ready to be returned to service. We'll move on to our morale modifiers. Now this is a red day, so we're going to be losing 1 for that. We are not out of supplies. Nobody's in the waiting area, nobody's in the morgue, but once again, German soldiers in red sectors, so we are at -1. We're going to have to draw 2 low morale cards and resolve 1. All right, we'll get our low morale cards out and shuffle those up. And we've got to draw 2. Okay, here's the 2 low morale cards. There they are. Okay. Choices are to add a patrol or add a despair card to the high morale deck. All right. I think we're going to use the despair card. We'll add a despair card to the high morale deck that may or may not come up. We'll place this one back into the low morale deck, and then we're going to transfer a despair card to the high morale deck. And who knows, we might not even draw that, so we will shuffle that into the deck, and then this low morale card is discarded. Okay, that could have been worse, I suppose. So we'll reset our morale to 0, and then we would check our surrender, possibly. Defender's morgue, waiting area, artillery, and then siege. That'll be coming up next. So right now we are at the truce level. We have to check the turn track, and in this case, the retreat situation is going to happen. So we'll resolve this retreat. It says resolve at the end of day 6. We begin by placing 1 German artillery on each space marked with an artillery symbol on the yellow row on the map. Okay. So you'll notice on the track here in the yellow, there are these artillery symbols. So we're going to be placing 1 artillery unit, taking them from the artillery display, the leftmost artillery units, and we place 1 in each of those locations. All right. Number 2, we move the supply marker one step to the right and lower defense by 1. So our supply marker now moves down to 2. It's not good. And the defense is going to be lowered from 3 down to 2. So I'm glad that we advanced that as much as we did. Step 3, we remove the first attack board from the main board and move any German soldiers from the first attack board to sector 1 on the main map board. All right, so we'll put these off to the side for right now, keeping their orientations. This board is removed and we reveal the board printed on the map. All of these units will move into sector 1. All right, and you'll notice now that this board is quite a bit different. Now this is the actual siege attack on the fortress starting. So there's a total of 4 sectors now, and then the hit ranges are going to be different depending upon who is defending in our defensive positions. German soldiers also have other actions that can occur when they get close enough. They can get into grenade range, and that is going to wreak some havoc. For every 2 grenades rolled, we're going to be lowering the defense level by 1. So not good stuff for us. And the last phase, or step in that retreat phase, was to place a status tile on the machine gun space. And we'll do that. It is currently active. And that allows us to use forces in positions A, B, and C. They can use the machine gun, and that helps in controlling the amount of Germans approaching. So we will advance our turn marker to turn 7, and we're in the siege stage now. So we'll get rid of our first attack deck, and we'll be drawing from the Siege 1 cards now. Okay. All right, we're going to be starting turn 7, and this is the first turn of the Siege 1, so we'll be drawing from that deck. I don't know how I'm doing so far. It's because I've never played this before, so it seems like we're holding our own, but we just don't know until we start playing a little farther. The decisions that we made back in the mobilization phase are definitely going to have an effect on us during this stage and the future stages. So, okay, let's draw the first of the Siege 1 cards. This one is more German artillery has been spotted on the road to Hegra. Okay, let's take a closer look at that card. All right, first step is the weather conditions, and we've got cloudy. So we'll adjust that to cloudy. Then it says we're going to add a artillery token to the hit bag. Okay, so we will grab a German artillery token and put that into the hit bag. I'm glad that we placed the miss tokens that we did place in here earlier, so that's good. All right, next, now we have some new symbols on the card. At the bottom of the card we've got Luftwaffe symbols, so let's see what's happening with that. Well, the rules instruct us to take the leftmost stack of air tiles from the main board and add them into the hit bag. So we're going to be adding these Injure 1 Defender tokens into the hit bag. So 2 more of those are going in. All right, so we'll place those in. Quite a few in there now. Next is we've got a artillery symbol. And that says that we're supposed to draw the number of tiles from the hit bag equal to the highest revealed number, not covered by an artillery piece on the artillery track. Well, in that case, it's going to be 5. So we're going to have to make 5 draws from the hit bag. All right. All right, so we're going to make 5 draws from the hit bag, and I have no idea what is in this thing right now, so we'll see what happens. Here is the first token. That one is a miss token. Next is another miss token. That is awesome. That's 2. The third one is gun 1 is damaged. Fourth one is defensive position C has been hit. And the fifth one is gun 2 has been damaged. All right, well, we'll resolve these and see what happens. All right, the 2 missed tiles are nothing, and those will go back into the reserve. All right, we have damaged tiles, and those are just going to get placed in those areas. We place them in the rightmost available slot in the corresponding action space. If it's a defensive position is damaged and it is manned, that defender is injured and he has to be placed in the infirmary. All right. So the German artillery have done some counter battery fire, and they have silenced gun 1 and gun 2. All right. Defensive position C has been hit, and our defender there now is going to be placed into the infirmary. All right, so we have a soldier that is waiting for care in the infirmary. Let's see what the extent of his wounds are. He rolled a 3, so that's a moderate wound. All right. So we put that on 3, and then we can move him into available beds, and we'll move him into bed 1. All right. All right, next we have to place 5 German soldiers on the display. So we'll get out 5 German soldiers. Now this has a maximum capacity of 5, so we can place 2 of those there. And the other 3 will have to go into the next sector. All right. And now they're going to launch their attacks. Okay, we'll start out with those in Sector 1. There's 3 active soldiers there, so they'll be rolling 3 dice. They're going to hit on a 6, and they'll move on a 4 and 5 from that position. Here's the roll. Okay, so 2 misses, but they have 1 movement. So one of the soldiers will move up into the move area. And we'll resolve the next set. There's 3 active soldiers in Sector 2. This time they will be hitting on a 5 and 6 and moving on a 3 or 4. As you get closer, it's more accurate. Oh, boy. Okay, so we've got a move, and we've got 2 hits. So 2 of those guys will move into the hit area, 1 will move into the move area. Now we resolve these from left to right. There's no grenades. We have a total of 2 hits, of which 2 of those will be absorbed by our defense. So that's great. Those guys can get moved back. Finally, we've got movements in this area. This guy is going to move into Sector 3. This one will move into Sector 2, and we have to be cognitive of the maximum capacity of those areas. And then these suppressed soldiers will stand up and get ready to fight. So we've got some problems here. All right, we'll move on to our morning phase. We're in the first, Siege 1 portion of the attack. So we move defenders from the rest to ready area. So that's good. And then we can use our supplies and morale to advance the others. We've got a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tired defenders. We're only getting 2 for each supply cube that we use. Well, I think I'm going to use for sure 3 of them. So that'll reduce our supplies down to 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. We can move 6 of those people over. So we'll move 3 soldiers, our commander, and 2 of our hunters, I guess. That leaves 3 guys left in the tired area. I don't want to spend any more supplies because I think that might be a problem for us. We'll have to see. So I think we'll go with this, and we'll place a medic and a volunteer in the rest area, and that'll leave 1 guy there in the tired area. We could spend morale. For each morale point we spend, we can move 2 of the tired to the ready. That's an option. Well, I think I'm just going to hold off. I'm very concerned about our supply level here. We've got one guy out on the board that's going to be trying to get back to the fortress, but there's a lot of German defenders in the way. We don't have our artillery available. That was knocked out in the counter battery strike. Okay, we're going to start assigning our defenders to their tasks. And this is going to, I think I'm going to have to look at this very carefully before I make my plays. Well, we definitely have to do some repairs. Our guns are pretty much knocked out now. So I'm going to place 4 units in that repair area. We'll use the medic, volunteer. And we'll do that for at least for right now. I think we're going to place 2 guys into the bolster area. We got to get that defense back up. So, I think we're going to need to do the counter patrols as well. I think we're going to place 2 soldiers in the, actually 3. I'm going to place 3 soldiers in counter patrol. It's going to be a total of 6. So we'd have 3 actions there with that counter patrol. That'll leave us with our leader and 2 of the hunters. And I guess we'll use the leader to inspire, and the 2 hunters will bolster defense. We'll try that. I don't know if that's the right call, but that's what we'll do. All right, we're going to begin with our fire at the Germans defending the walls. Now we've got a total of 2 soldiers and 1 volunteer. Now unfortunately the volunteer can only hit into range sector 4. So he won't be able to fire this turn. We'll have to make the firing with the 2 soldiers we have. Okay, here is the roll. And we've rolled a 3 and a 4, and that's going to allow us to suppress 1 and hit 1. Well, I think we'll hit sector 3, and we'll suppress 1 in sector 4, I guess. And I think we'll do that. All right, we've got no new supply runs starting, but we do have a total of 3 tokens in counter patrol, and those are each worth 2. So that'll give us 3 counter patrols. Place them in the tired area, and we can get rid of 3 of those German patrols. And I think we're going to get rid of this one, and this one. And that will open a path for us. We can try to get around. It'll be a little longer, but we can get around that artillery. These are going to go back into the patrol bag. Okay, now we're going to start our moves on the board. We have a volunteer. Right now the movement value is 5, but he's carrying some supplies, so he's down to 4. So we'll move him 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he will arrive, no matter what the weather, he'll arrive next turn at least. And now we'll take care of our maintenance. We have a repair action that'll allow us to remove a damage tile or unjam a status tile. So those 2 will go into the tired area. Now the question is, which one? Do we repair defensive position C or one of our guns? Or repair that counter patrol area. That would give us an ability to lower the suspicion level in addition to taking out those patrols. Well, I think we'll get the guns working, so we will repair gun 1. That goes back into the hit bag, unfortunately. All right. Next is bolster, and we can either add a miss tile or a defense with those. I think we'll use the defense, and we'll raise our defense back up to 3. I think we're going to need it. Finally, we have inspire, and we will move our morale up 1. We're at +1. All right. Moving on to our infirmary. Nobody is in the waiting area, so each of these can move up 1, and our volunteer is now fit for service, and he'll go back into the tired area. All right. Now we'll check our morale modifiers. It is not a red day. We have supplies. Nobody's in the waiting area or morgue, and no one is in the red sectors. So that means that we're going to draw 2 high morale and resolve 1. Okay, we'll reset this to 0 and then get our high morale cards and see what's happening. So we'll shuffle our high morale deck, and I think we've introduced a despair card into there, so we'll have to see what happens if we happen to be unlucky and draw one of those. Okay, here's the 2 cards. And we did draw the despair card. Oh boy. Well, that card has to be played. It says you must choose this card when drawn. And you may injure 1 defender to remove this card from the game. Otherwise, it goes back in. So this high morale card that we have drawn has to go back into the high morale deck. We can't play that. It's got to be this despair card. And I'm going to have to see what it means here. You may injure 1 defender to remove the card from the game. If we don't, does this go back into the high morale deck, or does that go back into the despair deck? I'm going to have to check that out. Well, it reads, you may either choose to resolve the text below the line to place the card in the reserve, or ignore the card and place it into the discard pile. We'll place it in the discard pile. That's what we'll do. So that'll go into the low morale discard. Okay. Now we're going to check our surrender area, and the only thing that's going to apply right now would be if we had a total of 6 German artillery in the map. We don't. It does say now in siege, fewer than the required number of healthy defenders. We have to have a total of 4 defenders, and we definitely have that. So no problems in that department. We'll move on to our turn track. We're going to be placing 2 patrols, and we advance to turn 8. So let's draw our German patrols from the patrol bag. Okay. And now we're still in that. Now we're in the cyan portion of the turn. So that'll be the row that these are going to go in. First one is in position 4. The next one is in position 3. Okay. So let's place those. So we're using the cyan row, and those are going to go in 3 and 4. So 3 and 4. Okay. And that'll complete the turn. We're ready for turn 8. All right, this is the final turn for Siege 1. After this, we'll be moving into Siege 2. So this is our last draw from the Siege 1 deck. And this time we've got the German infantry are advancing to the walls. Uh-oh. Okay, let's take a closer look at that card. All right, the weather conditions have improved. It is now sunny. That's good. Now it says we have to move up to 3 unsuppressed German infantry from Sector 1 up 1 sector. Okay. So 3 German infantry from Sector 1 will move up. So these 3 are going to move up, and that's going to put us over the limit. We've got 6 in there now. So one of those will have to move up to Sector 3. They're coming up to the walls, folks. Okay. And now we're going to have more Luftwaffe action. We'll be placing the next set of Luftwaffe tokens in the hit bag, and that'll be 2 of these -1 morale tokens. Those go in the bag. I don't think we have many miss tokens in there anymore, unfortunately. Next, we have to resolve the German artillery fire. Currently, the artillery level is at 5, so we have to make 5 draws. And then a total of 6 German infantry will be coming on the board. Oh no. All right, so we'll be making 5 draws from the hit bag. Okay, here it is. We've got, oh no, gun 1. Injure 1 defender. -1 morale. Uh-oh. And our artillery piece is coming out. Or I think that advances the artillery marker. That's right. And here is the 5th one. Another artillery movement. Okay. Well, we'll resolve these and find out what happens. Okay, the artillery tiles. We have to move the artillery marker one space to the right. If it reaches a German artillery piece, then we place it on the map to any numbered space showing an artillery symbol on the main board. We would fill up our yellow row first and then fill up the green row. Okay, so 2 movements on the artillery track. All right, so that cube is going to move 2 slots over. It's up to 3. Still got a little time there. And unfortunately, those artillery tiles go back into the hit bag. So we'll place them back into the hit bag. All right. Then we've got some Luftwaffe attacks, and it's going to be a -1 morale, and we have to injure a defender. All right. So -1 morale. And then we have to injure a defender, and it's going to be a soldier. So 1 soldier is going to be placed in the infirmary. All right. And then 6 German soldiers are going to come out. Okay, so we'll make a roll for our injured soldier. He was injured in a Luftwaffe attack. Here is his damage. He rolled a 3. So it's a moderate injury. We'll place him on the 3 area of the waiting area, and then we can transfer him to an available bed. We'll put him in bed 2. Okay, now 6 German soldiers are coming out. Oh no. All right, we'll get 6 German soldiers from the supply. Okay, and we'll start by placing them in Sector 1. We can fill up 4 of them there. Okay, we've got 2 left to place. There's no room for them in Sector 2, so they're going to have to go into Sector 3. And then finally we have to place a damage marker on our gun 1, and our gun is unavailable once again. Okay, that will take care of the event card. All right, we're about 1 hour and 10 minutes into this video. I took a poll earlier in the season, and I asked my viewers what they prefer. Would they prefer shorter videos or to dump everything into a single video? And they overwhelmingly voted for single videos if possible. So this extended example of play, we're going to, no matter how long this takes, I'm going to keep it into a single video. All right, now we're going to resolve the German attacks. And this might be brutal here. We'll see what happens. We've got 5 Germans in Sector 1, and we'll start out by rolling those. They hit on a 6, and they move on a 4 and 5. All right, they've got 2 hits. So we'll move 2 of them into the hit area. The other ones didn't do anything. We had 1s and 2s. All right, we'll move into the next sector. There's 4 active Germans there, so we'll be rolling 4 dice for them. They hit on a 5 and 6 and move on a 3 and 4. All right, well, 1-0, and they've got 2 3-3s, so that will be 3 of them in a movement position. Okay, and finally we have a total of 3 in Sector 3, so they'll be rolling 3 dice for them. They hit on a 5 or 6, move on a 3 or 4, and a grenade attack on a 2. Okay, here's the roll, and they've got 3 moves. So all 3 of these are going to be into the move portion. Oh boy. All right, now we start resolving these things. There's no grenades. We have 2 hits. That'll be absorbed by the defense. So those guys will go back to their previous position. Now we got all these movements happening. So we've got 3 moves here. That'll be moving them into Sector 4, and these 3 will move into Sector 3. And then this guy stands up. All right, this is not good. They're coming at us. I think we might have to use that machine gun. Okay, we're in the morning phase. We'll move our rested meeples into ready. And now we have to spend supplies and morale to get the other ones back. We're going to be having one of our volunteers will be coming in with supplies. So I guess we're going to have to spend both supplies, and that'll give us a total of 4 movements of tired to ready. It's 2, 3, and we have to decide what we want to do with these others. I guess we'll take a hunter. Okay. Now, unless we spend morale, this is what we've got. So we can spend morale to get 2 guys back for each point that we spend. Well, I think we're going to spend 1 morale, and we'll move our morale down to -2, and that'll allow us to get 2 more back. And we'll place these 2 in the ready area. And I think that's all we can do. And we will move, I guess, a medic and a volunteer into the rest area. And that's what we'll do. I'm not sure if this is good or not, but that's what we've done. Incidentally, the German aircraft do not go back into hit bag. Those go back into the supply once they're used. So that's one benefit. Now, I failed to talk about these when we switched over to this final siege board. There's 2 new actions that we can use here. There's something called reckless defense. We can take 1 guy and put him in there other than a medic, and we can inflict 2 hits on a defender. And unfortunately, though, that will injure our defender. So that is another option. Then we have this machine gun option, and we can use that for any of our defenders in defensive positions A, B, or C. Can instead use the machine gun if it is unjammed. Flip to the jammed side after use. And that would allow us to suppress 3 or hit 3, and then we can use additional supplies to get +2 die roll modifier. So that's kind of an interesting thing. We might end up needing that with all these Germans out here. All right, we'll start assigning our personnel. And I think well, we have no supplies, so I think we're going to put one of our hunters in, send out a new supply run. We'll do that. We've got 1 guy coming back, so that'll get us some supplies, but those won't last long. Then we have to decide what we're going to do here. We've got definitely a problem on the approaching Germans. Now, we can swap these guys out of here. We could swap out that volunteer. He would go to the tired area, and then we could substitute someone else into there. That's an option. Unfortunately, our gun got hit again, so we can't use that. That'll have to be repaired. And we definitely have a morale problem. We're at -2 right now. And if we can't clear these guys out of that red area, that's going to be a problem. So I think we'll definitely have to use our commander into the inspire action. I think we'll place our medic into the treat patients area in the infirmary. That'll help to maybe get some of those guys back. We'll definitely have to do some repairs. I'll place 2 volunteers in the repair area. I think we'll place a hunter. I'm going to have to think about that. Yeah, I think we'll place a hunter and a soldier in the shovel snow area. That would get us 3 movements, and that would be enough to draw another snow tile. Maybe something good is in there. And then we'll place 1 soldier in the counter patrol. We want to keep the number of those German patrols kind of at bay. We'll try that. All right, we'll move to number 1, and that's defend the walls. All right, so I think we're going to definitely try to keep, to use that machine gun, no doubt about it. Well, we'll use the machine gun, and the only thing I don't know is it doesn't appear that we have to have a soldier do that. So it looks like our volunteer could use it, and that would maybe increase his abilities a little bit. I think it's still limited by the range, though, of the unit that's firing. So he would be able to attack the units in row 1, and that, I guess that would be pretty helpful. So we'll have him operate the machine gun. That is going to flip it to its jammed side, but we get to roll 1 die, and then we can either suppress or kill 3 Germans. So here's the roll. We rolled a 4, and that means we can hit 3 Germans, and I'm pretty sure that it has to be based on the range. Even though it's a machine gun, you would think that it could go all the way through, but maybe with his limited abilities, it's limited to just his range there. I'm going to double check that real quick. Well, it doesn't say, so I guess we're just going to use that to target the range of the guy firing, and that'll take out 3 of those guys from that sector 4. Now we still have 2 other defenders there, so we'll see what they do. They rolled a 6 and a 4, and that's 2 more kills. That is great, and I think we will take them out of sector 3. All right. So that was a pretty good counterattack. All right, we've got no one in the fire artillery area, so we'll move on to supply run. We did put one there, so he's going to come out on the board. And we have soldier assigned to counter patrol, and he can remove a German defender. So we will do that. And I guess we will take out the defender in, well, we'll take out this defender, I guess. Put him back into the patrol bag, and now we can move our units. We have a current movement now. It's sunny, so we have 6 movement points, 5 for the guy that's carrying. Well, we'll have him come back first, and he's delivered supplies, thank God. Okay, now this guy here has a total of 6 movement points. I think we'll move him 1, 2, 3 into the position of that artillery. And our choices would either be to stop or sneak. Now our suspicion level is at 4 right now. So, I guess we'll wait, because that's only a 1 in 3 chance of being successful. So he will stop, and we'll lower the suspicion by 1. We'll do that. This guy here has arrived back at the fortress. So we're going to gain a morale, moving us up to -1. Suspicion will grow, and then we're going to gain 2 supplies plus the special. So we're going to get a miss token. That's great. Miss token will go into the hit bag. That might help. And then we get 2 supplies. And then this token is put into the tired area, and that token is removed. All right. Okay, we'll move on to number 4, and we'll start out with our Inspire. That's going to move our morale up 1. We're at 0 currently now. And then we'll take a snow shovel action, and that gives us a total of 3 there. And we'll move our snow down 3, and we'll be able to draw a tile. We'll reset it to 3, and we get a generator, +2 morale. That is awesome. So our morale will move up now to +2. That's outstanding. Okay, then we have a repair action available. And that's going to be tough. We can either try to repair a gun, or we can try to get our defensive position C fixed up, or fix up the counter patrol. I'm not worried about the counter patrol, so it'll be between these, excuse me, these 2. And I think we've got to get a gun going, so I'll repair the gun, and that goes into the hit bag. We haven't been too lucky with that. Okay, so these guys are going to go into the tired area, and then we move on to the infirmary. Well, we've got a medic in there, and he's worth 2, so we can treat 1 patient in a bed, so we get 2 treatments. He'll go into the tired area, and we'll treat 1 and 2. Okay. Then they'll go through their relapse and recovery. He's going to come back into active duty. We'll put him in the tired area, and he advances 1 more. Okay. And that looks like that's what we've got right now. All right, we'll continue with our morale. It is not a red day. We have supplies. No one is waiting. No one in the morgue, and there's no one in the red sector. So we're going to draw 3 high morale cards and resolve 2. We'll reset that to 0. Let's get out our high morale deck. Okay, we'll give that a shuffle. And we get to resolve 2 of the 3 cards. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now we're going to be using the Siege 1 area. So let's move 2 defenders from the tired area. Look at the top 2 cards of any deck and put them back in any order. Or repair 2 damage tiles. We can select 2 of these. Okay. I think we're going to use these 2 cards. This one will go back into the deck, and we can move 2 defenders from the tired area to the ready area, and then repair 2 damage tiles. All right. All right, 2 defenders to the ready area. We'll get our leader and 1 soldier. And then we have 2 repairs. I think we'll repair gun number 2. That'll go back into the hit bag. And then we can repair defensive position C, or, yeah, I think we'll do that. Defensive position C. Okay. And that's what we've got. Those 2 high morale cards are placed in the discard. And now we have to check our surrender situation. All right, be no modifications for that. That's good. We definitely have 4 defenders that are healthy. Track is on 8. There's no German patrols coming out, and there's nothing else happening. So we'll move to turn 9. These are all red turns now, and we're into Siege 2. So we'll get rid of our Siege 1 deck. We don't need that anymore. And we'll be drawing from our Siege 2 deck. And I'm already anticipating the worst. So let's see what we've got for a draw. And this one says, the fortress walls are starting to deteriorate. How much longer will they last? Okay, we'll take a closer look at that card. All right, the first step is the weather, and we have deteriorating weather conditions. That's going to move the snow up 1. And then it says move the defense 1 level down. Okay, so our defense level is going to drop now from 3 down to 2. And then it says move the artillery marker 1 step to the right. So the artillery marker moves up to 4. All right, I guess that could have been worse. And now we go through our procedure at the bottom of the card. We're going to introduce 2 more of those Luftwaffe tokens into the hit bag, and those are -1 morale tokens. Put those in. Next, we have to take hit tokens out of the bag equal to the number revealed, and that's 5. So we got to make 5 draws, and then 5 German soldiers are coming onto the board. And we'll make our 5 hit token draws from the bag. I have a hunch this is going to break our back. Here's the first one. And that is defensive position C. Number 2 is an artillery. Number 3 is an artillery. Uh-oh. Fourth one is a Luftwaffe attack, -1 morale. And finally, another Luftwaffe strike, injure 1 defender. Okay. We'll take care of the artillery tokens first. Those are going to go back into the bag. We got 2 movements there. And we got to move the artillery marker 2 spaces and then put the artillery units back in the bag. 2 movements will move us up to 6 now. So we'll be drawing 6 tokens from the bag unless we can return these artillery. Now this artillery has to be deployed on the board. So we're supposed to place the artillery token using the yellow row first. When that's filled up, then we start with the green. So that's going to go in position 2, the leftmost artillery position on the green track. So there's 4 artillery out there. We've got a -1 from our Luftwaffe strike. That's removed from the game, or I should say put into the reserve. Then we have 1 injure 1 defender. That defender is going to be a soldier, so we'll take him from the tired area and move him into the waiting area and see what happens. We'll make a roll for the severity of his injury. And he rolled a 3, so that's a moderate injury. And we do have a bed available. We'll put him in bed 1. Okay. And the last one is defense position C. Well, defense position C would have been the best one out of those that could have been picked. There's nobody in that foxhole, so we will put the damage marker there. And now we have to place 5 Germans on the board. Okay, we'll get out 5 Germans. And we've still got quite a few in the supply yet. Okay, that's filled up. We can place 3 into sector 2. And the other 2 will have to go into sector 3. And now they're going to launch their attack. Okay, we've got 5 Germans attacking from sector 1. They'll hit on a 6, move on a 4 or 5. Oh boy. Okay. So 4 and a 5 is moves and 1 hit. So we got 1 guy in the hit area and we've got 3 in the move area. This guy didn't do anything. Okay. Next we have 5 in row sector 2. Those will hit on a 5 and 6 and move on a 3 or 4. Okay, believe it or not, only 1 hit. We rolled, all the rest are 2s, which are no effect. So 1 hit. The other guys stay where they are. And finally, we have 3 in sector 3. They will hit on a 5 or 6, move on a 3 or 4, and launch a grenade on a 2. So here's the roll. And we've got 2 hits and 1 move. All right, so we will resolve everything from left to right. We've got no grenades. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, of which 2 will be soaked up by our defense. So that means 2 of our guys on the line are going to get wounded. And we go from, I believe, from left to right. So that will wound this guy and this guy. And we'll put them to the infirmary. And then these guys fired. And now we do our moves. Okay, he's going to move up. This guy will move up. And these 3 will move up. It's overcrowded. We've got a total of 7 there, so 2 have to move up. And we've got enough space for them, barely. So that is the extent of the German attack on the fortress. Okay. Well, that was pretty brutal. I don't know how much more of this we can take. All right, we'll start by moving our rested characters into the ready area, so that helps a little. And now we've only got 2 supplies. Oh boy. Well, we'll definitely be using 1 supply. And we can move 2 units with that. We'll take a soldier and a hunter. And then we have to decide if we want to use more supplies or if we take morale. So, we're currently at -1 on the morale track. If we use up our last supply, that will give us a -1 to the morale. So either way, that probably won't matter that much, whether we spend it or not. I guess we'll use a morale point to transfer 2 defenders to the active space, and I'll move our morale down to -2. Okay. And then we can place some defenders into the rest area, and I guess we'll do that. Yeah, we're probably going to need our medics in the infirmary, so I'll do it that way. All right. And now we'll assign them to their daily duties. All right, I think we definitely have to fire the artillery. There's no way around that. So we're going to put 2 soldiers into the fire action. That's going to get us the ability to fire each of the guns. That's good. Then we definitely need more people on the line. Well, I guess we'll place one of our hunters in position. I guess we have to do it from left to right, so we'll put him there. I'll have to check that, though, to see if we can select where he goes, or does he have to go in the leftmost box. Well, it says we can place him in any box, so I guess we'll put him into defensive position A. That would open him up, though, to attack because of that hit bag. That token would be in there. He could get hit. I wonder if we're better off keeping him into that generic space, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll put him there. He might be a little safer that way, because otherwise those potentially have tokens in the hit bag. All right, our morale is down to -2, so I guess we'll put our leader into the inspire action. And we'll put the medic into the infirmary. Oh, we've got 2 guys we have to take care of with that. Let's take care of that now. We have 2 guys that I forgot to roll for, so we'll take care of that now. We'll start with the soldier. He's not too badly wounded, so he's in the 5 area. And we'll place him into bed 3, and then the volunteer, he's a 4, so he goes there. We got no open bed for him, so he's going to have to stay in the waiting room. All right. Okay, we've still got 3 volunteers left that we need to assign. More than likely the guns will get jammed again, so we might need a repair. A bolster action could help as well. Boy, this is tough. Well, and we still have to worry about supplies, so I think we're going to have to send one of these guys out on a supply run. The other 2 we will put into bolster, I guess. We'll try that. And that'll be our disbursements for the morning, and we'll go to day now. All right, we'll start out by using our defensive positions. We'll start out with the hunter, and he can have a range of either these 2. So we'll start firing with him. He rolled a 3, and that is a suppress. We'd like to get rid of this guy in here, so I think we'll suppress him, and then we'll have the soldier fire and see if he can maybe take that guy out with a kill shot. Let's try that. Rolled a 4. So we've got the kill, and we'll take him out, and that was pretty big because that would affect our morale. They'd be right up on the walls, not to mention a potential charge. Okay. All right, we've assigned some people to the fire action. We can fire both of the guns, so those guys will go into the tired area. And now we got to decide what we want to do here. I think we need to target some artillery positions, so I'm going to select for the first gun. I'm going to target a map row, and we can take out 1 artillery per revealed targeting disc, so each of these could take out an artillery. All right. Now if we target the position where we have a defender, we take a morale loss, I believe. I'm going to double check that. Yeah, we would lose the morale. We could take out that artillery piece, but the defender we'd lose morale. So we'll take out, I guess, this artillery here, and that'll go back onto the display. Okay. I believe that's correct. And I think that moves the red token, the red cube down as well. I'll have to double check that. And that's correct. It says if the artillery marker is in the space, you move it 1 to the left. So the artillery marker has been placed at 5. Now we got to check for a jam on the gun. We took that out of this roll, so we need a 5 or 6 to prevent the jam. Okay, here's the roll. Nope, it's jammed. So number 1 is jammed. All right, now gun number 2. Well, I think we'll use gun number 2 to target an infantry sector. And it says that we can hit 2 per revealed targeting disc and suppress the rest. So, I guess we'll hit these 2 in sector 2, and then we can suppress the rest. I realize these are closer, but yeah, that's a tough decision. I'm going to have to think about that before I do this. I don't have enough experience to figure out which is better. Well, I guess I'll target sector 3. We'll take 2 out of there, and the other ones will be suppressed. My rationale was that it's possible that these guys won't move up, and then we won't have to worry about them getting into sector 4. So that's, at least that's my initial thoughts. And now we'll have to roll for the gun jam, and we targeted this sector, so we need to get a 5 or 6. That could have been another consideration. If we would have targeted this area, we'd have a 50-50 chance, so we'll try it. We need a 5 though, 5 or 6. And we failed. We would have failed either way. So both of the guns are jammed. And now we will continue with number 3. All right, we've got a supply run set up. He'll move out to the fortress. And now we can start moving these guys. We'll have him, we have a movement of 4. So we'll move him into there, picking up the last of the supply tokens. Then he'll move towards that miss token, and he can move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. We'll move on to our maintenance actions. We'll use the Inspire to raise our morale by 1. We're at -1 now. And then we will either take a bolster or a miss tile. And there's going to be a total of 7 of those firing in the next turn. So they would be hitting on 6s and 5s and 6s. So what are the odds on that exceeding the defense level we currently have? I think I'm going to try to put a miss token into the hit bag. I think that might be the way to go. So we'll take a miss token and put that in the hit bag. I don't know if that's the right call or not, but I'm going to try it. And that'll take care of our maintenance. We'll move on to the infirmary. All right, so we start out with treating patients in the beds. And we've got 2 movements there. So we can move 2 guys. Move him up 2. And then we go through our relapse and recovery. We move all patients in the waiting area down 1 level. Okay. And then we move all patients in beds up a level. So all of these guys are going to come back, and then we can transfer him to a bed. That'll stabilize him. You can do that at any time. And then these guys will go into the tired area. All right. And that is the extent of number 5, infirmary. We'll go on to the morale. All right, the morale, we have a red day. Bad news is coming, so that goes down 1 for that. We have supplies. I was able to preserve 1 supply. And we have no defenders waiting in the waiting area. Nobody in the morgue and no one in a red sector. So right now we're going to draw 3 low morale cards and resolve 2. That's not so good. Okay, we'll shuffle up our low morale deck and draw 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And we got to play 2 of these. And we're using the middle portion. So let me get a zoom in on those cards. All right, so we're going to be using the Siege 2 part of the card now. Yes. Move the surrender marker up a level, draw 2 tiles from the hit bag, or move the supply marker 1 step to the right. If this is turn 11, instead draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. We got to perform 2 of these. Oh boy. Well, definitely we can play this one, and that would be to move the surrender marker up 1. So let's do that. We've got room there. We'll move that up to honorable surrender. That one has been played. Now we got to select one of these 2 to play. Either drawing 2 tiles from the hit bag or moving the supply marker 1 step to the right. Now there's still 2 turns left after this, so we'd be living with that supply marker. I guess we'll play this one, draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. I don't really want to do that, but we'll have to do that. So this card will go back into the low morale deck, and then we'll play this card. And we got to draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. Oh boy. Okay, here's the first draw. And we've got defensive position B. Okay, not good. And another artillery. Oh boy. Okay. All right, so defensive position B has been hit. And that is going to wound our soldier that was in that foxhole. So he's going to go to the infirmary. We'll make a roll for him. And he's got a terrible wound. He rolled a 1. So we'll put him in bed number 2 in the 1 position. That's very severe injury. We probably won't be getting him back before the end of the game. Okay, next we have to move our artillery area. So that token is going to move up 1, and that will place another artillery token on the board. The artillery token will go into the yellow band, and we have an open place there, so that's where it goes. Okay. And the artillery token goes back into the hit bag. And now we'll check our surrender condition. Nobody in the morgue. There's definitely not 4 in the waiting area. There are not 6 artillery on the board yet. There's 4. And then our siege. We have to have 5 healthy defenders, and we definitely have that. So we're in good shape that way. But unfortunately, 3 patrols are coming out, and we advance to turn 10. Okay, here is the 3 patrols. Now we are in this brown area, so they're going to be into that area right up at the foot of the fortress. So let's see which ones we get. We've got 5, a 6, and a 5. Okay, we'll place them on the map. So 2 of them are going to go in position 5, and 1 in 6. Okay. All right. And that is the end of the turn. We'll be starting turn 10 now. And things are, I don't know, pretty precarious. And we'll start by drawing a Siege 2 card. And this one says, the supply storage took a direct hit. Oh boy. All right. Okay, examining the card, we've got winter conditions again, so it'll stay there. The snow will get up by 1, it's up to 5. And now it says we lose 3 supply. If you don't have enough, injure 3 defenders. All right. Well, we don't have 3 supply, so it says if you don't have enough, instead injure 3 defenders. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to take 3 injuries, and those are all going to be soldiers. So 3 soldiers are going to be placed into the infirmary. Oh boy. So we'll make a roll for our 3 wounded soldiers. And that's not a bad roll, of 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we'll place them in the waiting area for the moment. 4, 5, and 6. Okay, we have an open bed, bed 3. I don't know what we're better off doing. There's only 1 turn left. So I guess we'll place him in the open bed. The other 2 will remain in the waiting area. They probably won't get down to the morgue area, but I think that might be the best way to go. All right, another Luftwaffe attack coming. We have to place 2 more Luftwaffe tokens in the hit bag, and these are injure a defender. Those are in there now. And then we check our artillery situation. We have to draw 6 tokens out of the hit bag, and then we're going to be placing 4 more Germans on the tracks. Well, I can tell you this hit bag is definitely the most frustrating out of the game so far. So we got to draw 6 of these. This is probably going to break us. Okay, here's the first one. Artillery. Damage to gun 2. Direct hit on defensive position A. A miss. Okay, 2 more. Luftwaffe strike that is going to injure a defender. And finally, another miss. Well, we did pretty good. The 2 misses were excellent. So those are going to go back into the supply. And then we're going to have to deal with these things. Okay, first one is a strike on defensive position A. Luckily, no one was there, so we made the right call by placing him not in one of those A, B, or C defensive positions. Okay. All right, gun 2 has been hit. We've got an artillery token, and it says we got to move the marker up 1. So it's going to place another artillery on the board, and that marker goes back into the hit bag. So from right now, it appears that I mismanaged that hit bag. I should have been trying to place more miss tokens in there, I think. We'll place the artillery on the board. All right, the yellow sector is filled, so this one is going to have to go into sector 5 on the green track. All right. And finally, we've got this injure 1 defender. So that'll be removed from the bag. And the injury has to be a soldier. So he is going to go on to the infirmary. Okay. And we'll roll for the extent of his injury. Rolled a 6. So he just stacks up here in the waiting area. All right. It's about the best we could do. Okay. And now we got 4 German soldiers coming out. And we'll place them. We can place 3 of them in sector 1. And 1 of them is going to have to go into sector 3. That's filled up. So now they're going to launch their attack. And we've only got 1 hunter on the line right now. So this is probably not going to end well. Let me readjust my camera. Okay, we'll start out with the German attack from sector 1. There's 5 Germans there. They hit on a 6 and move on a 4 or 5. Okay, there's 2 misses. They've got 1 hit and they've got 2 moves. So 1 is in the hit area, 2 are in the move area. Okay. Next is 5 Germans in sector 2, and they will hit on a 5 or 6 and move on a 3 or 4. Wow, we got pretty lucky. We've got one hit and one move. The other three are misses. That's amazing. So we've got a hit and a move. And finally, there's one German soldier that is not suppressed in Sector 3. Whoa. So he is going to hit on a 5 or 6, move on a 3 or 4, and a grenade attack on a 2. Rolled a 5, and that is a hit. Okay, so we will resolve these, starting with grenades. There's none. Hits, 1, 2, 3 hits. Our defense is 2, so that means he's going to take the hit, and he'll be sent off to the infirmary. These guys will move back. These guys will stand up. And now we've got some movements happening. He's going to move up. That's 5. These 2 will move up. That's 6. So an extra guy will come up and keep going until he's up into Sector 4. Okay. And now we'll find out the fate of our brave hunter that stood on the wall by himself. Let's see what happens to him. Rolled a 5, so that's not too bad. That is the best we could hope for. So we've got quite a few guys in the waiting area. All right. Okay, we will take care of our morning actions. We've got 2 guys that'll move from the rest area to ready, and now we're in serious trouble. We've only got 1 supply. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I mismanaged this, folks. Well, there's still another turn left, plus the last stand we have to resolve too, whatever that is going to be. Boy, oh boy. Well, I think we're going to have to use our last supply, and that'll allow us to move 2 guys over. We'll do that. And then the choice is, do we spend morale? We're at 0 morale right now, so I guess we can afford to do that. We'll spend 1 morale to move 2 guys over. And I think we need medics. These other 2 we'll put in the rest area. And I think that's the best we can do. We've got nobody on the line right now. Well, we have trouble pretty much in every department, so we're going to have to see what we can do about this. Our snow track is within 1 of forcing us to draw another tile, so we'll have to put somebody there. I guess we'll place, I don't have a lot of people left. 2 to snow shovel. We'll have to put both of our medics into the infirmary. Maybe that'll help clear up some of the problems we've got there. We're going to have to use our leader to inspire. There's no doubt about that. Morale is a problem. And then we have 1 soldier left. He'll have to be put on the line. No doubt about that. And that's pretty much all we have. What's really causing a problem is these artillery pieces. I should have done more to try to take those out, but unfortunately, my guns, I repair them and they would get hit again. So that really limited my ability to be able to take these guns out. If you can have more guns placed on the display, there's less a number of hit tokens that you have to endure. And that's kind of where things fell apart. Okay, so we will start resolving our actions. And we'll begin with number 1, fire at the Germans. We have 1 soldier in our defensive position, so we'll make the roll and see what happens. We rolled a 6, and that's a kill shot, and we'll take that one out of Sector 4. So that's at least something. Okay, we got no one in fire artillery. Our guns are damaged, so we can't do that. So we'll move on to our supply runs. We have a total of 4 movement points because of the snow conditions. So I guess all we can do is he's going to move into here and pick up that token. And then this guy is on the return trip. He's not affected by the modifier, so he has 4 total movement points. And I guess we'll move 1 and 2. He won't be able to make it back this turn anyway, so what I'll do is I'll just have him stop there, and we can reduce the suspicion level by 1. And I think that will be it for the supply runs. Next is our maintenance. We'll do some snow shoveling, and that is going to reduce the snow level by 1. Gives us a little space there. And then our inspire action from the commander is going to lower the morale, or raise the morale by 1, so we're at 0 for the time being. Okay. And then we have our infirmary. We have 2 medics in there, which is going to give us a total of 4 movements to help these guys repair. So I guess we will move, let's see here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do that. The medics will use to treat that injured soldier. These guys are going to drop down 1, and then everybody else will move up 1. We're going to get 2 guys back, opening up a couple beds, and then we can transfer these people into beds. Probably the soldiers, I guess, would be the most important, so we'll transfer these 2 soldiers over, and that's what we've got. We'll take a look at our morale modifiers. It is a red day, so we're going to lose 1 there. We are out of supplies. We're going to lose another 1 there. Defenders in the waiting area, yes, we'll lose another 1 there. Uh-oh. No defenders in the morgue and no soldiers in red sectors, so we are going to be in that position. Draw 4 low morale cards and resolve 3. Oh boy. All right, well, we will get our low morale deck out. There's 5 cards left. Okay. So we'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4 and resolve 3 of those. We can reset this to 0 now. All right, let's see what these low morale cards are. We have to play 3 of them, unfortunately. Okay, those are the cards. And we're going to be using the Siege 2 portion of these cards. Move the supply marker 1 step to the right. If this is turn 11, instead draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. Move all patients in the waiting area down 2 levels. We could afford to do that. Move all patients in the infirmary 1 level down. Or draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. I don't want to draw any more tiles from the hit bag, that is for certain. So we'll get rid of that card. And we're going to have to resolve these 3. Move the supply marker 1 step to the right. If this is turn 11, instead draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. So we'll do that. We'll move our supply marker from 2 down to 1. That card is done. And then move all patients in the waiting area down 2 levels. We'll do that. 1, 2. That one is done. And finally, move all patients in the infirmary 1 level down. And we'll do that. That's not too good. At least we've completed it. Okay, the surrender conditions. 3 or more defenders in the morgue? No. 4 or more defenders in the waiting area? No. 6 German artillery on the map? No, we have 5. And then finally the siege situation. We have to have 5 healthy defenders, and we have that. Okay. So we're going to advance our turn track to turn 11. And this is going to be the last turn, and I am already fearing the worst. Okay, this is turn 11. We're going to have to draw 1 more Siege 2 card, and then once we complete this turn, we have to complete a last stand card, and we'll see what happens. Here's the Siege 2 card, and that one reads, "It is becoming even colder, and frostbite is spreading among the soldiers." All right, let's resolve that card. Okay, our weather conditions remain as snow, so we're going to have to increase our snow level up by 1. Then it says, lose 1 morale and injure 1 defender. Okay, So we have to lose a morale. We're at -1. And we have to lose a defender, and that's going to be a soldier. So he's injured. He will be going to the infirmary. We'll make the roll for that. Okay, here's the infirmary roll for the soldier. He rolled a 2. So he's going to go in the waiting area on 2. And now we're going to have some more Luftwaffe tokens introduced into the hit bag, like we need more. Okay, so here's our hit bag, and we're going to be placing in 2 Injure 1 Defender tokens. All right. Next is the artillery strikes. Revealed number is 7, so we have to endure 7 hit token draws. And then we'll be placing 6 soldiers on the display. Wow. Okay, here is our 7 hit bag draws. I don't know if there's 7 tokens in the bag. Okay, here we go. We've got a damage to gun 1. And we've got a Luftwaffe strike, injure a defender. And we have another Luftwaffe strike, -1 morale. And then we have another Luftwaffe attack, -1 morale. They're bombing us. Here's the 5th, an artillery piece movement. And the 6th is a Luftwaffe strike, injure a defender. And there's 1 token in here, and that is another Luftwaffe strike, injure a defender. And I'm going to check. There are a couple hit tokens in the bag right now. So we'll resolve these, and this isn't going to be good. All right, we've got 3 injure 1 defenders. So that is not good. I think we have to use the priorities on the card, and I think that's how it has to be. I'm going to double check the rules though. Yes, if it's an unspecified defender, we have to use the criteria on the card, so we have to get rid of our soldiers first. And we begin by taking out the tired soldiers, so he's injured. And we've got to keep going with soldiers. Now we've got 1 guy on the line here. I don't know if we shift to that area or not. I'll have to read on. Yeah, then we eventually go to the main board. So he would be injured. That's 2. We got to injure 1 more soldier. There aren't any. So then we move on to the commander. He is injured. Oh boy. Okay, so we've resolved these tokens. Those are put into the reserve. And now we have to drop the morale by 2. Okay, so we're going to roll for our injuries and then take care of the morale. Okay, we'll roll for the 2 soldiers. 6 and a 4, so we'll place them in the waiting area at 6 and 4. And now we'll roll for the commander. He rolled a 2. Oh boy. Okay, that's that. Now we have to lose 2 morale. So our morale is going to drop down 2. We're at -3. Gun 1 has been taken out with a hit from the Luftwaffe. And now we have to move our artillery tracker. And that's going to place the 6th artillery on the board. So the artillery is going to move up 1. And that's going to reveal this next artillery piece. And that goes into the green location on 6. So all 6 German artillery units have been deployed. And that artillery one will go back into the hit bag. Okay, that is that. Now we have to place 6 German soldiers on the display. All right, we've got 6 German soldiers to deploy. There's 2 left in the supply. So we'll put a couple down here. That's full, that's full, that's full. The rest of these will have to go into Sector 4. And now they're going to launch their attack. We have nobody on the line. And I think this is going to be our Waterloo. Okay, we'll start with the attacks on the soldiers in Sector 1. They're going to hit on a 6 and move on a 4 or 5. Oh boy. They got 2 hits. And they've got 2 moves. All right, so 2 hits and 2 moves. We'll move on to the next grouping, and that's sector 2. They're going to hit on a 5 or 6 and move on a 3 or 4. Okay, we got 2 movements and 3 2s, so nothing will happen with those, so 2 moves. And we'll move on to the next grouping, 5 of those in sector 3. Now the grenades are going to be possibly active. 1 cocked die, we'll re-roll that. Okay, we've got 1 hit, 1, 2, 3 moves, oh boy, and 1 grenade. So we'll put him in the grenade area. We've got 1 hit, and we've got 3 moves. I think we are going to be overrun. And now the last group, we've got, they're on sector 4. There'll be 4 soldiers attacking. Whoops. And the grenades are be active on 2 and 3 now. Okay, they've got 2 1s, which is good. There's nothing happening with those, but they have 2 6s, and those are hits. So we'll resolve this. We have, starting with the grenades, we have 1 grenade. That's not enough to do anything. You needed 2 or more to do that, so that will get moved back. Now we add up our hits. 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Defense is 2, so we have to take 3 hits. There's nobody there. So that is not good. And it says that if we take more hits than we have defenders, we ignore any remaining hits. So we'll move those hits back. And now it's the moves. And we're supposed to start with the highest number first and move down. So he's going to move. Got no movements there. These 3 will move. Can fit 1. That means the other 2 will move into the charge area. These 2 move up. And these 2 move up. All right, so we've got 2 charge units in there. And it says injure the leftmost defender and place the soldiers back in the reserve, or move 1 defender from the tired area to the morgue and place the soldier into the reserve. That's what's going to happen. So we've got 2 guys will be put back in, and we have to lose 2 units from the tired area. And I guess we'll preserve the medics, and these 2 guys will go into the morgue. All right, that's the German attack. Brutal. We'll move on to the day phase. I should say the morning phase. And then we're going to move these guys in here. These 2, we have no supplies. If we lower the morale anymore, we're going to lose defenders. So we don't want to do that. I guess we'll have to leave it with the 2 that we've got. And we'll just start assigning them to actions. Boy, oh boy. Okay, we've got 2 volunteers in the ready box. What do you do? No, I don't think it's going to much matter. The best action, we got 1 person that's going to be coming back with supplies, that's for sure. So that would help a little bit. What could we do to try to stave off defeat? We need to have enough defenders to prevent getting overrun. So I guess we would put these guys into the infirmary. I think that's about the best thing that we could do. All right. And then we can move the 2 tired guys to the rest area, I guess. That's the only other thing we can do. Okay, we will start resolving our things, and supply run would be first up. Well, we've got a hunter here, and he has a movement of 4. He's not penalized because he's the hunter. 1, 2, 3. He arrives back, so we'll resolve our supply runs. The defender will move to the tired area. We're going to gain 1 morale, moving us up to -2. Suspicion will rise to 4. We're going to gain 2 supplies plus a 3rd supply. So we've got 3 supplies for right now, which is more than we've had. Okay, and that token is removed. And now we'll move on to our infirmary. Okay, at the infirmary we have 2 volunteers that are trying to act as medics. It's going to get us 2 movements on those charts. And I think all we can do is try to get one of our soldiers back. We'll move him up 2. These people are now going to move down, which is 3rd in the morgue. Then everybody else moves up 1, and we'll get him back. And that's the best we could do. Okay. And now it is the morale modifiers. Okay. This is a red day. We're going to lose 1 there. We are not out of supplies. We have defenders in the waiting area, so that goes down 1. So we lose another defender. When it says lose, it doesn't go into the infirmary, it goes into the reserve. He like runs off, I guess. So we have to follow the criteria there, and we have to lose a soldier. So we'll take that soldier out of the tired area and move that into the reserve. Okay, we'll continue on. -1 per defender in the morgue. We've got 3 of them. So I think what happens on this is every time you bounce, you get to the bottom, it comes back up 1, and you've got to keep doing that. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. I'm going to double check that. Well, all it says for morale is it says that if any time the morale marker would be moved lower than -3, you instead lose a defender. So I don't know if that is for each occurrence where it would keep bouncing back or not, or if it's just a one-time thing. We'll play it as it's a one-time thing. So we'll leave it down there. We would lose a defender, and then we're going to have to do the most restrictive of those morale tracks. Unless you're supposed to keep drawing and losing defenders for each one, I guess that's possible. I don't think it'll matter. Yeah, the actual wording on that is if at any time. So I'm not sure what to make out of that. Well, I guess we'll play it as I have it. This might not be correct. I'll have to maybe go on BGG and get a clarification if that token keeps bouncing like that for each one occurrence, or if it just stays there. We'll play it as though it stays there. Okay, then we're going to have to draw 4 low morale cards and resolve 3. There's only 2 left in the draw pile, so we got to reshuffle these and then draw an additional 2. See what happens. I think it'd be a miracle if we survive this. Okay, 2 more. And we'll see what we get. Okay, they're all low morale cards. Okay, we've got move all patients in the waiting area down 2 levels, lose a defender, draw 2 tiles from the hit bag, and move the defense level down 1. So we'll definitely be playing those 2. Boy, if we lose another defender, we're not going to have enough people to survive the surrender. I believe that's what's going to happen. If we move the patients down, they'll be in the morgue. So, well, I guess we will do that. We'll play these 3. This one will be put back in. Patients, move all patients in the waiting area down 2 levels. So we've got a total of 6 in the morgue. Then draw 2 tiles from the hit bag. Oh boy. Okay. Here's the 2 tiles. It's an artillery and a miss. Okay, the miss is removed. The artillery is already at max, so there's nothing else we can do with that. I'm sure there's a penalty if we can't fulfill that. I'll have to check that. Yeah, there is, and that's to move the surrender marker up 1. All right. So, what's left? Move the defense level down 1. So we're down to 1 on defense. So we've resolved these, but now we have to check our surrender area. And that says 3 or more defenders in the morgue. That's it right there. Unconditional surrender, we've lost. Well, that's it for the game. We've lost, but I'll tell you, it sure is a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed this solo-only game of Halls of Hegra. If we want to do a little autopsy on this game, I think some of my major problems resolved around not managing that hit bag properly. I think in future plays, I'm probably going to be spending more assets trying to get more missed tokens in the hit bag, because that's like a cascade of events is what happened. As I drew the tokens from the hit bag, they ended up damaging the guns that I had repaired, and I could never use the guns then to take out the artillery, and that led to more hit bag draws, so it kind of almost increased exponentially from that. So I think the hit bag is extremely important in making sure you manage that almost above all things, because so much stuff revolves around that, and especially when the German Luftwaffe get involved, you're getting wounded defenders, you're getting decreases to morale, and you just can't recover. But what a great game. I'm definitely very pleased with the game, the quality of the components, and the gameplay. It's fantastic. So this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club, thanking everyone for tuning into the channel. I hope you enjoyed this extended playthrough of the game, and I look forward to seeing you again with our next video. In the meantime, I'd like to wish everyone a pleasant evening and a good night. Happy gaming as well.